Hey people, welcome to the Run Testers, and in this video we're going to be talking about headphones and specifically the new Beats Fit Pro. Now these are a set of headphones that you guys have been asking us to review for a long time. We've worked very hard to get hold of them. They're not available here in the UK yet. They're not coming until 2022. So we managed to get ours via a service called BigAppleBuddy.com. Now it's a service which ships products around the US over to the UK. So we managed to snaffle a pair to do our test and bring you that video because we knew you were hankering for it. So now that we have them and we've given them the run tester treatment, in this video we're going to be answering some big questions for you. Are they better than the Apple AirPods Pro for running? Are they better than the Jaybird Vista 2 and the Jabra Elite 7 Active? Are they now the best true wireless buds that you can buy for running? You better keep watching to find out. So first up, let's talk about price. Well, in the US, these are going to be $199.99. We don't have a price confirmed from the UK yet. They're not out yet, but we're expecting them to come in at least £150, probably a chunk more expensive than that. And they're going to be in the rough kind of ballpark of the Jaybird Vista 2, the Jabra Elite 7 Active. Possibly a little bit pricier than the Elite 7 Active, but they'll be cheaper than the Powerbeats Pro and cheaper than the AirPods Pro for sure. Now, if you can't wait until next year to get your hands on them, you can pick them up at BigAppleBuddy.com right now. They'll ship them to the UK. The price will be around £208 plus around kind of £40 tax. So you're going to pay a premium for them, but if you can't wait, you can actually get hold of them right now. So I'm going to quickly try and rattle you through the headlines on the Beats Fit Pro. Now, one of the top things here to pay attention to is the fact that these carry the same Apple H1 headphone chip that you find in the AirPods Pro. And crucially, what that means is you're going to get active noise cancellation and transparency modes like you do on the AirPods Pro, and to a very similar level of performance. You're also going to get the spatial sound that comes with the AirPods Pro. We'll go more into that and what that does later on, but that's another feature here. You've also got adaptive EQ that tailors the sound to your environment around. And they've got 9.5mm drivers powering that sound. There's automatic in-ear detection that relies on skin sensors so they don't come on in your pocket and think your pocket is your ear. They only track when they're in the lug holes. The Fit Pro battery life extends to 6 hours run times on the bud, 21 hours in the case. That's when you're using active noise cancellation or transparency mode. That jumps to 7 hours on the buds and 23 hours in the case if you're not using those two active noise and transparency modes. Now the compact buds come in at 5.5 grams for each bud. That's around 0.2 ounces. And the case weighs 54 grams or 1.9 ounces. That's on the heavier side for a true wireless case. And it's much bigger too. You're kind of getting a miniaturized version of the Beats Pro case. It's kind of bulkier, much chunkier than an Apple AirPods Pro or a Vista 2 or a Jabra Elite 7 Active case. So fit and comfort is somewhere the Beats Fit Pro are really trying to stand out. Now, major difference here obviously is you've got the wingtip design. That's sort of different to the Powerbeats Pro, which have the ear hook, or the Apple AirPods, which obviously just drive into the ear canals. Now, the one thing, this wingtip, Beats say that this has been digitally designed, so they've used kind of thousands and thousands of imprints of ears to create a wingtip that's going to be there for kind of maximum kind of fit security, but also comfort. So you're getting this combination of the regular kind of ear tips and wingtips on the outside that work together to keep this in the ear. So you're going to get 3 different sizes of the gels in the box. That's pretty standard fare. And there's an ear tip fit test to see if you're getting a good fit for sound. Now, really interestingly, when I did that test, I ended up getting the recommendation that my fit wasn't quite right in the right bud, and I had to move that down to a kind of a smaller gel. And the left bud, I left it, so I went for small in this one, and a left, I went for the medium. So interesting though that it picked up both of those to get the perfect fit for my ears. So now when it comes to the wingtip itself, I think the material here is slightly more rigid than you'll find on a Jaybird Vista 2. Now it's a little bit longer as well, and the idea is that you're popping them in and you tilt it back and then hook it under, and it creates actually a really nice kind of solid Loctite fit. You know, they're light and comfortable and compact in the ears. They don't protrude too far. They sit nice and light. Those buds at 5.5 grams is a good weight. Don't feel heavy. They don't feel like there's excess hanging out. You know, sometimes if you get big buds, they can sort of feel like they're tugging and jiggling free. You don't get that here with the Beats Fit Pro. Those stiffer wingtips, you know, you will feel them after kind of a 3-hour session. We use them in the ears for 3 hours. You notice them, but it's not crazy. There's a little bit of pressure. On shorter runs, it's absolutely fine as far as I'm concerned. I didn't really have any problems with that. There was sort of no digging, nothing kind of to report that was negative on that front. Like pretty much all kind of wingtips, after a while, go on those longer runs, you will feel something, but it didn't really inhibit me from enjoying using these headphones, and certainly was no worse or better than I found with the Jaybird Vista 2. Now, I will say that I think in terms of fit, these are some of the best, if not the best fitting true wireless in-ear buds that I've ever used. You know, my ears tend to play nice with in-ear buds. I don't really have too much of a problem with them falling out, but they're bang up there with the Jaybird Vista 2 for a Loctite fit. But I think even marginally better than that. You know, they don't shake out when you're running down kind of steep descents. You know, even if you're slamming your heels in, they still stay put. They're basically going to be in your ears pretty much whatever you throw at them. When it comes to battery life, the Beats Fit Pro have got a nice competitive runtime. You've got 6 hours on the buds themselves, a further 21 hours in the case. That's using active noise cancellation or transparency mode. And that jumps up to 7 hours on the buds or 23 hours in the case without ANC on, just using that adaptive EQ mode. That's 30 hours in total runtime, kind of without using the special sound features. And that rivals both the Vista 2 and the Elite 7 Active. Both of those two offer kind of 1 more hour on the buds. You're going to get 8 hours for both of those without active noise cancellation being used. But crucially, I think for some people, the Beats Fit Pro are going to outrun the Apple AirPods Pro and the Powerbeats Pro as well. So how do we get on actually in the tests then? Well, they pretty much lived up to billing actually. They did really well. I think with ANC on, we used sort of somewhere around the kind of 15% mark for an hour's run. That dropped down a couple of percent, 2 to 3% when we weren't using the active noise cancellation or the transparency mode. And to be honest, I was running with my European dance music turned up to pretty much full volume throughout those tests. So even at high volumes, they're performing well and in line with what the claimed on paper battery life times are. They do offer rapid charge, and that's pretty much in line with the others like the Vista 2 and the Elite 7 Active. You're going to get an hour's runtime from 5 minutes on the plug with these. Not quite as punchy as the Powerbeats Pro, where you're going to get 90 minutes off a 5-minute charge, but the Beats Fit Pro are really in line with those other true wireless headphones at this price. And a full charge is going to take you around about 90 minutes in our experience. When it comes to sound performance then, I think the Beats Fit Pro did really well with kind of good punchy bass, nice crisp clarity and clearness otherwise. Perhaps one thing I've noticed is that the top volume isn't maybe kind of as loud as some of the other options here, but I still found it performed pretty well. You know, it was ample at full tilt for me. I thought, you know, it's plenty to keep, you know, give that kick up the arse that you need sometimes when you're running, or if you want to have it loud to drown out sort of traffic noise, particularly with the ANC on, I found it to do a good job. Now, unlike the Jaybird Vista and the Jabra Elites, there's no custom EQ, so you're going to have to make do with that kind of adaptive EQ that's kind of changing and adapting depending on your surroundings. You can't kind of tweak those sound profiles or save them as you can with those other headphones. That's something I've personally missed. I think with all of these, you know, it's nice to be able to set them to your own preferences and also have sort of different modes for different sort of scenarios. Maybe you're in the gym, you want it to be a bit more kind of bassy, or, you know, you're out on the road, you want to have a sort of slightly different sound profile. I like to actually be able to customize those myself and use them. So that's something I do think some people might miss when it comes to these headphones. So beyond the fit test that kind of make sure you get a good fit for these gels, you're not going to get a personalized sound test like you do with the Jabra Elite 7 Active or the Jaybird Vista 2s. That again is something that I think maybe these are potentially kind of lacking. You are obviously going to get active noise cancellation and transparency modes. You can use active noise cancellation with just one bud as well, so you can set it so that it will just be on in one of the buds and not the other, so that's kind of handy. I took these to my kind of favourite place for testing the ANC and that kind of transparency mode, and here's what I made of it. So it's very dark. I've come to a busy kind of 4 lanes of London traffic to test the active noise cancellation and transparency mode and off, compare how they sound. Now when I don't have music in, there's actually, the active noise cancellation does kind of dull the kind of the highest edges of this traffic behind me. Doesn't shut it out completely, and all things told, it's basically just making a kind of slightly different noise. Where the big difference here is that I found is for the transparency mode, actually you can really hear a difference. It's letting in an awful lot more sound in transparency mode, and that kind of ambient awareness is huge. There's a bigger difference than I found with some other true wireless buds, and I actually kind of rate that quite highly. There's a discernible difference between that and the off mode. Between off and ANC, not so much. That's the outdoor performance. When I've got music on and my music's up high, all of those things, all those levels are somewhat kind of diminished as well. once the music's kicking, I find it quite hard to discern. As I've said before, I get a good seal mainly from buds like this in my ear canal, so I think that means that these features are not really entirely made for me. They're a bit lost on me in some ways. So one other interesting and quite unique feature that you're going to get with these, you find it on the Apple AirPods 3 and on the AirPods Pro, but is spatial sound. Now this feature is using the kind of built-in accelerometers and a gyroscope to do kind of head tracking, spatial head tracking. So I guess it's a little bit as if, instead of going stereo where you've got things maybe placed left and right, what you're doing is when you're turning your head or moving about in space, it's adapting what you're hearing in each bud to kind of mimic what it might be like if you were standing at a concert. So, turn your head left and you can hear that kind of guy ripping the guitar solo in your kind of right ear, turn left and it will pop into the left ear. Now on the run, I'm not sure this is sort of hugely beneficial, but when you sort of step outside of that and you're thinking about how good these buds are for everyday use, watching films, watching videos, firing up YouTube, that's a really nice feature to have, and it's actually kind of surprisingly good. It really does kind of make you feel like you're sort of within a kind of 3D space, and that's a nice touch. So when it comes to the call quality, we tested this, it performed really well. Again, you've got dual microphones in each bud, and you're going to get external kind of wind and noise filtering to help you with that kind of clarity coming over. When we spoke to people, they didn't have any trouble hearing us. Kind of inbound audio was also good off the headphones as well. So that cool kind of quality, it's not something I particularly use a lot. I don't really like to take calls and interrupt my runs. That's my time to be out and sort of zone out. But if you have to or you want to, that's a feature that is, it's going to be good enough here for you to take the odd kind of work call whilst you're on the move. When it comes to durability, then the Beats Fit Pro are IPX4 rated, so they're sweat and water resistant. They're not quite as well protected as the likes of the Jaybird Vista 2 and the Jabra Elite 7 Active, which have got higher ratings. The interesting thing as well, the case also isn't IP rated. The Vista 2's case is, so you get a little bit more protection if you're carting that case on longer runs, ultras and the likes. When we took these out on the run, plenty of sweat. I'm quite a big heavy sweater. And no problems thus far in terms of our test and usage, so living up to that rating. But there is one thing I did want to say about the case. I feel like the hinge on the case lid, it just feels a little bit weak to me. It doesn't feel quite as robust as I'd like. It didn't break, but it feels like the kind of thing that, give it a push in the wrong direction by accident and it might. So just wanted to raise that. That's one thing just to be aware of. The controls on the Beats Fit Pro are pretty familiar setup with most true wireless buds. Essentially what you've got is an integrated button here. This is sort of nice and flush, but it's a series of kind of taps, double taps, and some kind of press and holds that do all of the controls here. And we're talking about things like skip tracks, kind of pause and answer calls. Now these are easy enough to use on the move. It's a sort of series of light touches that are required. The buttons are nice and responsive, and they don't really kind of require you to sort of jab too hard. So there's no jabbing these buds loose when you're trying to control them on the move. I actually managed to use them quite nicely even through like a big woolly hat, which was quite good. Now there's some customization available in the settings on your iPhone and in the partner Android app, the Beats app for Android. This isn't really as good as the Jaybird or the Jabra's offering, which gives you much kind of more control over the controls. Now you can choose between using press and hold to control the volume on the buds, or switching between the ANC, transparency and normal mode. But it's a little bit frustrating that you have to make that choice between those two. You can't actually control ANC and volume on the buds during the same run. You have to choose one or the other when you go out. On other true wireless headphones, you can actually do both. Connectivity then. Now, if you're in the Apple universe, then these perform as you'd expect, straight out the box, kind of seamless connection to the iPhone, really quick, really fast. There's kind of a little handy thing that pops up and says connect my buds when you open the case top. That makes it nice and easy. And then there's also kind of seamless switching between your iPhone and your MacBook or your multiple iOS devices. And that's actually really nice. There's no going into the settings to faff around and kind of disconnect a current kind of set of headphones in order to make them work on the other device. You just pop them in and they work fine. When we're on the run, we had no kind of dropouts or anything like that. Connectivity was great. You can also share the audio with other kind of Beats or iOS users, although no one wanted to stump up and listen to my European dance music during our tests. The only thing I will say is that I did experience some kind of strangeness when it came to the volume controls using my Mac. That little shiny slider thing that they've just removed from the new MacBook Pros, the controls, I can't remember what the name of it is. When I slid that up, it didn't seem to turn the volume up on this. It was keep kind of flicking back. I don't really know why that was happening. It didn't happen when I used the volume controls on my iPhone or anything like that. So I don't know, maybe that's just a bug that I've discovered. Now there's a couple of extra features that I wanted to mention. You can use these with Apple's Find My feature that sort of helps you locate stuff that you've misplaced. Now that only works with the buds, it doesn't work with the case. On the Jaybird Vistas, for example, you can locate the case separately from the buds. That is dead handy. And I'll tell you exactly why now, because on a run that I took these out, the case, which is quite big, it's like a bar of soap sort of shaped as well. I wanted to see what it was like porting it on the run in my running belt. Somewhere along the line when I was playing loud music, it dropped out. I have no idea where, so I've lost it. In that instance, it would have been fantastic, A, to be able to find my case separately. When I got home, I realised it wasn't there. The other thing that I really like, I bang on about it, the boys laugh about this, stick a hook on your case, because if you are going to port this in a running belt, if you're going to use them on an Ultra, then I think this little hook that will hook into some running belts and bags, you know, means you don't lose it. It's even handy if you're going to put them in your gym bag and you want to hook them into the top compartment or whatever. It just means you always know where the case is. It's just a simple thing that I think I wish all true wireless buds had. I now don't have a case for my new Beats Fit Pro. They've run out of battery, so they are now redundant. When I mentioned this to Nick, he pretty much victim blamed me and said this was kind of my fault. Put them in a drop pocket. He said, don't wear them in, never put them in a belt, Kieran, never put them in a belt. He's kind of right, and I don't think the case on this front with the Beats Fit Pro is really made for porting with you. I don't think they kind of expect people to run with it. And you know, for that reason, that's the thing. From an ultra running perspective, I think that's kind of a down point when you're talking about these headphones for sort of long run use. One last thing that I forgot to mention, you can also use the buds independently, so you can use one at a time, extending the battery life if you want to. That all important verdict then. When we looked at the specs for the Beats Fit Pro, we were really genuinely excited. We knew they had great potential, and they really don't disappoint. These are excellent on many levels. Unless you really like the ear hook design of the kind of Beats Fit Pro, these are probably the best running friendly headphones that you can now get in the Beats / Apple lineup. So the highlight here is the fit. It's right up there with the best that we've tested in terms of true wireless buds, and that's backed up by good solid sound, good connectivity. You've got, you know, a good transparency mode and an okay active noise cancellation setting. You're also going to get sort of some customization, but that's limited, but a really competitive battery life. If you're in the Apple universe, that kind of seamless connectivity between iOS devices is also an absolute win. And spatial sound, while it's not really, I didn't find it particularly useful for running, it's a really nice touch when you want to use these for things that are unrunning related. That's not even a word, is it? Unrunning. Are they better than the Apple AirPods Pro for running? I would say yes, definitely. Are they the best true wireless buds going? Well, that is a little bit more of a close call. They are right up there, and I would definitely put these in the sort of top 3 that I've used recently. Now, I would personally buy them over the Jabra Elite Active 7, which we've tested on the channel here. You can find the review, we'll pop it up just on the screen now. Now, a major reason for that is that the Beats Fit Pro just offer a much more Loctite fit for running, I find, than the Elite 7 Active. But they're not, for me, better than the Jaybird Vista 2. I think the Jaybird Vista just kind of edge it for a number of reasons. The first is that the case on the Beats Fit Pro isn't portable enough for my liking. I do a lot of long running. I do take the case with me. I appreciate for people who do shorter runs of an hour, battery life is going to be enough on the Beats Fit Pro. That might not be a problem. And then you've got the overall durability, which is just ramped up a little bit more on the Jaybird Vista 2, particularly in terms of that case as well, which makes it more portable on longer runs or when you've got it pocketed and you might get caught in the weather. And then finally, I think it's kind of down to that customization. I think the Jaybird Vista 2 just offer a lot more customization, be it the sound profiles or the controls. And for me personally, I like a bit of personalization. It makes a big difference tweaking those sound profiles just to get them kind of perfectly to how I like it. You don't get that on these Beats Fit Pro. Won't be everyone's cup of tea, that personalization. If you don't care about that, then I think it's an even closer call. If you don't care about taking the case with you, it makes these an even closer call as well with the Jaybird Vista 2. When you buy either of these two sets of headphones, you're going to be happy in terms of that overall fit. And yeah, overall, the Beats Fit Pro are a set of headphones I would absolutely recommend to any runner if you like this style of design of earbuds. Really, really top quality product. They're right up there, so definitely worth a look if you're considering a set of true wireless headphones for running. So there you have it. That's my review of the Beats Fit Pro. It's been a little while coming. Thanks for being patient with us. We finally got our hands on them. Hope it was useful. If we've missed anything, please feel free to ask us questions in the comments below. If you disagree with what we've said, let us know as well. We're always interested to hear your opinions on these products if you tested them. Yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell so you can hear about our other videos when they come out. But yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you again as always, and we hope to see you again soon on the Run Testers. In the meantime, I'm out of here.